Do you find yourself dealing with negative people? Well, today we're going to be sharing some tips on what you can do to deal with those negative people in a more empowered way.
Yes. So, I think we've all dealt with negative people at least once or twice in our lives.
Well,
and
yeah.
I think I think that the thing that makes it most difficult is when you are trying to be upbeat and you're trying to hold yourself up, you're trying to be positive, and it can feel like you're in an ocean drowning, and you're trying to hold yourself afloat, and someone else is holding on to you and dragging you down. Or it can feel contagious as well. If somebody's being negative and you're trying to be positive, it can feel contagious.
Absolutely. And I know that there's a number of different ways that we experience negative people, and there's all different types of negative people. So I think that the best way for us to get started with this conversation is to talk about what's going on inside of us when we're encountering negative people.
Right. So whether the person is angry with you or just complaining or being pessimistic, whatever that is, the truth is that another person cannot change how you feel, cannot make you feel bad. And the reason for that is because feelings and emotions are the sensations of chemicals inside you. So nobody else can climb into your brain and change your chemical state. Now, what they can do is they can trigger you, and we can't change someone else. Unfortunately, we cannot change someone else, in any way. But what we can do, and this is the best bit, this is the empowering bit, what we can do is we can change our own experience of that person. So we can change the chemicals that are being produced inside our own brain and body when we experience that person, which will change how we feel.
Okay, so just to put the brakes on there for a second. So if this is a new concept, the thought of that it's happening inside of me. So the experience that most of us have is that it feels very real, like these people are doing something to me.
Absolutely. It feels very real. But unless they are physically touching you, you can't feel it. They can't make you feel anything. So it's their behavior that is triggering a chemical reaction inside you. So now the way that we can change it, there's a couple of different things. So the first thing is to recognize, okay, I can. What I wanted to say is that you know this because certain people will be triggered by certain things, and other people won't be triggered by them.
Right. If a negative person really had the power to impact me negatively. In other words, whatever it is that I'm experiencing inside, whatever I'm feeling inside, if that negative person was actually causing that to happen to me, then it would have to happen the same way to everyone else.
Exactly. Everyone would have to. Yes. So some people get angry. Some people feel, feel sorry for the person. Some people feel frustrated.
Some people laugh it off.
Some people laugh it off. Some people don't even notice it.
Right.
So exactly. And so what's making the difference is the perception based on the references, and we'll get to that in a minute. So the first thing is to recognize that, okay, so that person, I can't change that person. Unfortunately, I would like to, but I can't. So unfortunately, I can't change that person, but what I do have control over and I can change is my own experience of that person. And one of the first steps that you can do right now that will help to overcome that, the effect of negative people, is to see them as not well. So, think about it for a moment. Instead of complaining or being angry or criticizing or whatever that person is doing, instead of doing that, imagine if they were accusing you of being Elvis or an alien. How would you react then? So rather than being hurt, upset, angry, betrayed, whatever those feelings are that you have, or feeling judged or criticized, if they were saying, you know, I really wish you'd just admit that you were Elvis or an alien, wouldn't you go, what? And it wouldn't affect you in the same way. So because, you know, we were saying earlier today as well, if somebody came in and said the same things that that negative person was saying, but in a language you didn't understand, so you don't know what they're saying, it wouldn't have an effect on you because you wouldn't have a reference for that negativeness, that negativity. So the first thing is recognizing that person cannot change my chemical state. It feels like they can, but they can't. The second part of it is developing the ability to change your own chemical state. And that we have a lot of resources on that. So check the links in the description or the comments below for those links.
Go ahead. Yeah. Stay with the list. I was going to jump in with another thought, but go ahead.
That's all right. And so that's gaining, so that, you know, this person can be having a go at you or complaining or being negative in whatever way they're doing it, and you could be smiling and nodding, and inside you could be imagining holding your pet in your arms, or skiing, or gardening, or what you're looking forward to next. You have the control of where you put your focus. That person doesn't even need to know where you're putting your focus, but what it will do is wherever you put your focus determines the type of chemicals your brain and body are producing. So while you're focused on how negative this person is, your brain and body are producing stress chemicals, which just make you feel worse. While they're carrying on with their negativity, if you are able, and it takes practice and it is a skill, if you're able to, while you're listening to them complaining or being negative, you're able to switch your focus to hugging your dog or your cat or whatever, or thinking of someone you love, your brain will start producing feel-good chemicals, regardless of what that person is doing. So that's the second part. So the third part is pretend they're nuts. Pretend they're not well. They're just, you know, maybe they've had too much to drink, or they've been smoking their socks and they're saying weird things, and just go, all right, and then the fourth part of this is to change the original references that are how you know this is negative. So like we're saying, if it was a language you didn't understand, you wouldn't know it was negative. So, and different people react to negative things in different ways. So, and again, the links will
and the truth is that we can't have a reaction to something if we haven't had a previous reference for it. So, and that's what we're talking about, going back and discovering what those original references are. And it's obviously more than what we can talk about in this video, but we do have plenty of those videos and other resources for you to kind of explore that and start to understand what those references are. And of course, we will provide help, and we would love answering questions about any of this. So stay with this. I know from personal experience, I think we all know from personal experience, that dealing with negative people is not an easy thing. And the best time to practice these techniques, some of the things that we're talking about, is not when you're dealing with that person in their presence. So you want to start working on these techniques, working on these skills before or outside of dealing with negative people, so that you can begin to practice being able to switch your focus to something else, to start changing your chemical state. Because changing your chemical state, you always have control over. It may not feel like it when you're in the presence and being triggered. So you want to practice that away from the trigger itself.
Like practicing a fire drill before.
Absolutely.
Not waiting for a fire before you practice fire drill. So yeah, very good point.
Well, if you found any of that helpful, if you enjoyed the content on these videos, please give us a like and check out the links in the description below for additional help And we will see you all again next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Hello.
Hi.
Do you find yourself?
You forgot what you were going to say.
Completely.